because
Oh my God.
Welcome to Full Court Press. This is where we talk about the pressing questions that are going around the NBA. And today, I'm joined by Charlie and Fatmir. We got the squad back together for this episode, post-NBA Finals. And Charlie, I gotta hand it to you. You called it from before the All-Star break. The Nuggets were gonna win the NBA championship. You're the only one on this show who got it right. How do you feel?
You know, they tried to tell me that I had to pick the Nuggets, dude. They tried to switch up my pick. I had to run the tape back, but I was right all along, dude. The Joker had my back the whole run. That was like one of the most dominant playoff runs I've seen in a long time. It was fun to watch.
What did you guys think of the finals outside of like just the Nuggets destroying everyone?
I thought it was like a lot of people thought it wouldn't be a good series when it first got matched up, and I was like, I'm all about this series just because of like the backstory. Because I remember, what was it, last season when Jokic like checked Morris in the back or whatever. Whenever that happened, and I just remember the Heat have not liked him since then. So you knew like the Heat wanted it. I was just happy to see Joker in the finals, and at that point, I'm a huge Butler fan too. So like whoever won, it was gonna be cool. I think the Heat were definitely like outmatched. Just I thought it was kind of crazy. They didn't bring Hero back at all. Like they were just losing game after game, and then the one adjustment they could have made was getting another scorer in, and they didn't make the adjustment. Which at the same time, I know they didn't want to mess up what they had going, but
Right.
I don't know. I thought it was a great series. I thought it was good for basketball. But
I agree. Me and Fatmir talked about it in the last episode. We didn't lose in this situation. We like the way that Joker plays. And then Jimmy's from the Bulls, you know, you gotta root for Jimmy. What I took away from it, I mean, you brought up very good points. The Heat didn't even know their score. It looked like Jimmy somewhat felt the effects of his ankle injury in the second round. For whatever reason, he just didn't look like the same playoff Jimmy at the first round, or even the last time they were in the finals in 2020. Moving forward, the Heat are gonna have to make some decisions because they got a lot of undrafted guys that played very well and are looking to get paid. So looking forward to that, and we'll get more into that later on. But what did you think, Fatmir?
the finals were cool. Honestly, wasn't the most interesting in terms of like how the games actually went, because like there were times where it was going back and forth, but almost all the games ended up with like the Nuggets pulling away pretty convincingly. So it wasn't super interesting, but I still enjoyed it overall.
Yeah, I'd say it seemed like a more slow-paced type of finals. Nuggets, man, they might have a dynasty on their hands. Granted that everyone can stay healthy. What do you guys think about that?
I would agree. I mean, I know they got Jokic and Murray locked up for a good amount of time, and I could see them, like, their connection. They're not going to go anywhere.
Oh yeah.
Michael Porter Jr., his health is definitely a concern. Just from the past, he's actually been pretty healthy the last few years. I just think he hasn't really played up to like what he can be. He's that's why he got the nickname, like No Pass Porter, dude. Like it's actually insane some of the shots he takes, but I think he definitely has a high ceiling. He fits their play style pretty well. Gordon is just like a huge kind of like, they traded for him. I don't know if they were expecting like how solid he's been, but he's been very solid for them, and his defense is very underrated.
Surprisingly, his offense was turning up in the finals. I think he had a couple games where he had 20 plus, and it was just slashing to the basket. He had a few threes here and there, but just destroyed the Heat in the paint. I mean, he's an athletic guy, so he was giving the Heat problems on both sides of the court. I think every time they would try to double Jokic, he'd be cutting back door for an alley-oop, so that was huge for them.
They could have a dynasty. It really does depend if their shooters can stay as consistent as they have been. Also depends on how their role players are going to be. Because if Bruce Brown does stay with them and opts in, then they for sure could keep it going. Because he was insanely important for them. But like it really does depend on like if they still could have the depth and the shooting that they have now. Because if they lose that, then a big part of their game goes away.
Yeah, that's very true. There were even some times during the finals when Jokic just had to take over just because no one was hitting shots and no one was getting it going. But that's what you expect out of a superstar, and that's what Jokic decided to do. And with that, we're going to move on to the biggest news around the league right now is that Bradley Beal has been traded to the Phoenix Suns, teaming up with KD and Devin Booker, creating arguably KD's fourth super team in his entire career. What do you guys think? Bradley Beal to the Suns, will it work?
Will it work? Ain't much defense on that team right now.
Not
Nor
much
depth.
defense, that's for sure.
Defense nor depth. But it helps that they're all shooters. I think Beal's career is probably either at 40 or almost at it or above. I don't know. I know he's a pretty dead-eye three-point shooter. Booker's obviously one of the best. Durant's one of the best. So it'll help them to play off of each other to be able to shoot like that.
Right.
But I mean, they don't really have a playmaker now. I mean, Chris
They
Paul
don't.
was a really good fit for that team just because he doesn't really care about scoring. So Beal, 28 points a game. Like, I don't know how he's gonna change his game because I would say it's still Booker's team. Like, Kevin Durant's better than Devin Booker, but I think it's Booker's team. So he's gonna want his 30 a game. Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. He's gonna want his 30 a game.
Yeah.
So Beal's gonna have to take a huge step back, probably, and I don't know if he's gonna be willing to. I don't know what kind of guy Beal is really. He's been really quiet in his time in Washington, so will it work? I really don't know, but I would definitely call it a super team just because of what they've done away from each other.
Yeah. If you just look at the standards, I mean, you got 3 All-Stars averaging over 25 plus throughout their careers for the most part. I would consider that a super team as well. I don't know the exact numbers, but I know just the 5 players that are on the team currently: Cameron Payne, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, KD, and Ayton. I think those 5 guys, in terms of contracts, are like 160 something million.
Yeah.
I think the cap's 250. I could be
I
wrong,
don't know the cap.
but
They need 5 more guys at least.
yeah, they need at least 5 more guys to get to 10, and most rosters have about 12 to 13 anyways, sometimes more. Whether or not it's going to work, that's all going to depend, honestly, on the final product of the team, but I think Beal's fine with sharing the spotlight. He's played with John Wall before. Devin Booker has slowly started to get used to playing with bigger names. Chris Paul was the first one. Chris Paul is more playmaker, though, as you said. So he still was kind of transitioned into being the main guy on the team. I would also agree that it is Devin Booker's team. He's been there the longest, and he's going to be the future once KD leaves or retires. And then Kevin Durant, he's played with multiple All-Stars, has had multiple super teams. This man is...
He knows.
He knows what to do. He knows his role. I think it was a little bit tougher in the playoffs this time around because Aaron Gordon, he was just putting the clamps on him. And this was one of the rougher shooting performances he's had in the playoffs. I just think he would prefer more help, so he doesn't get scrutinized as much. And that's why they got Beal. I heard that he did recruit him over there. And I actually did see a recent post where I think Beal's agent is the dad of the CEO of the Phoenix Suns. So
Yeah.
maybe there's some ties there. Who knows? A little bit of tampering possibly between families. Not sure. But it's possible it could work. The defensive end is going to be a liability. It's all going to matter on the depth, to be honest, because you can have as many All-Stars as you want. If you have no depth, once those All-Stars get out the game, you guys are going to struggle very much. So that's what I think.
So I don't think the trade really affected them in terms of them getting worse really, because their team was already not great at defense. Losing Chris Paul and Landry Shamet's not going to change that.
True.
In terms of depth, they really had no depth last year either. They lost Landry Shamet and Chris Paul. It's not really going to change anything. I think right now they probably have at least 10 guys with who they have left with Biyombo, Lee, Okogie, and then a couple other guys.
Do they still drop Landale?
They might.
Well, the only people under contract is those 4 and Cameron Payne. Nobody else on the team is under contract right now. So.
And then in terms of who their point guard is going to be, it's 100% going to be Devin Booker. When Chris Paul went down with an injury, Booker was averaging 8 assists a game. He's definitely capable of playing the point guard position. He has the playmaking ability to do so. Even if he doesn't do it, Bradley Beal is still a decent enough playmaker too. I think Bradley Beal overall is going to adjust really well. This year playing with Porzingis and even Kuzma, he went from his normal 28, dropped it down to 23, but like kept the same efficiency and all that, and started playmaking a little more. So he's definitely capable of taking on a smaller role. And I think he knows that at this point too, that if he wants to actually win, he's gonna have to take a smaller role with these two guys. Overall, I don't think the Beal trade really does much in terms of like improving what they were lacking. It like the Suns were a heavy mid range team. Beal's also a pretty heavy mid range guy. Like he can shoot the three pretty well, but like if there's one thing to his game, he's more of a mid range guy in my opinion than anything else. So it kind of just strengthens what they're already good at rather than actually like improving something that they really need. But I think overall they'll be fine, and as long as they just like can fill out the depth with some defensive guys.
True. I just think a big thing for them is going to be spacing the floor, because in the playoffs it's just Devin Booker and KD. You could just put two good defenders on them. It's hard to have three great defenders on a single roster. And I think the biggest thing is going to be a pick and roll. If you can get Book or Beal in a pick and roll with KD, I think KD's going to have to start setting a lot more on-ball screens. And that could be the key to the recipe, because if you have one of those two guys running the point, and then KD sets a screen, the other guy's going to possibly be on the wing or the corner, ready to shoot when the defense collapses. So I think that's going to be a big deal with Bradley Beal. The biggest name right now that's on the market, off the market, is Damian Lillard, Dame Dollar. He wants to win now. I think he's made that very clear. It's just whether or not it's going to be in Portland. He loves the city of Portland. He stayed there. He doesn't run from the grind, but it might be time not to run from the grind, but to get his dues, to get a ring. I don't think the fans would be mad if he gets a ring. I don't know if they're going to burn his jerseys if he were to leave, but I think the fans would want to see him get one regardless, whether it's in Portland or not, just because Dame has been so loyal to them and has given them a decade of basketball. So where do you guys think Damian Lillard will end up? Do you think he ends up anywhere, or do you think Portland trades the number 3 overall pick and builds a team around Dame and finally gives him that opportunity to win it all in Portland?
So I think he's probably not going to be on a new team. I saw a couple of posts today on Twitter. I don't know how serious the Pelicans are about trading Zion Williamson. It seems like they're pretty serious, and it seems like they might be actually willing to trade him for the 3rd pick. So I think Portland has made a lot of attempts in the past few years to try and get good players to surround Damian Lillard. So I would say it's out of the question for them to try one more time, because I really feel like they don't really care about the future of the team. They just care about keeping Damian Lillard and keeping him happy. So I think they would definitely make the trade if the Pelicans agreed, 3rd pick for Zion Williamson. And I think honestly, when Zion's healthy, he's one of the best forwards in the league. So whether he's healthy or not, him and Damian Lillard would probably at least get Portland to the playoffs. I think they're like better than a playing team, maybe like 5 to 8 seed. But I feel like Portland's going to attempt to do that before they attempt to like just trade him away completely.
Yeah, I agree that they are going to try to bring people to Portland first, because you never want to trade away your superstar who's been there for a long time. Zion going to Portland, that'll be interesting. It's all about him staying healthy, and he's had some baby mama drama the past couple weeks, so he's got to get his act together as well. That 2019 draft class, man, that there was something in that water when they came into the league. I'm not sure what it was, but a lot of drama in that draft class. Personally, I wanted Dame to get traded. My preferred destination was Miami. Ever since I heard the talks, I was like, Dame to Miami, because one, team up Dame and Jimmy Butler, I think that'd be a great duo to watch. Plus, they both play their heart out. They're both dogs. I think that Dame fits the Heat culture very well. Heat culture is all about giving it your all, no matter who's on the court. You think you have a chance of winning. And the fact that the Heat went to 2 finals in 2020 and 2023 with Jimmy Butler being the number 1, and then not really having like that second option. Bam is the second option, but he's not known for being the greatest scorer.
He's just not a second option.
He really shouldn't be, but he has to be for the Heat.
Yeah.
So I think bringing in Dame, the Heat are gonna cause problems, and I'd love to see, because I want to see both those guys get a ring, and that would be my preferred destination. Whether he gets traded there or not is up to the Trailblazers, but that's what I want to see.
I don't know what they're gonna do. I've seen reports saying they want to keep Dame and they'll trade the third pick. I've seen reports saying they don't want to trade the third pick either. So honestly, they might just be saying a lot of stuff just so nobody knows what they're actually gonna do. But I think Dame stays at least this year, and they're gonna see how it works. And if they like what they see, they might keep it. If they don't, then they'll make a decision. But in terms of preferred destination, I have two. Miami being one of them, just because I think the fit would be nice. But the other one would be Milwaukee, because Dame and Giannis would be a nasty duo.
Who would they give up for
That's
that?
like, whatever happened
Drew
in
or
that trade,
Chris Middleton?
Portland's getting fleeced in that trade. There's no way around that.
100%. They have to give up either Middleton or Holiday.
Or both.
I don't
Probably
think they give up both. But one of those two picks, the rookie they drafted last year, who's supposed to be pretty good overall, and then maybe like some other just like filler guys. But I want to see Dame to Milwaukee. It gives Giannis another more reliable point guard, because Drew's good, great defender, not a reliable offensive option. Chris Middleton, Michael Jordan, or I don't know, KCP, one of the two in games. But Dame will give you a reliable second option and a great playmaker. Him and Giannis in the pick and roll. Giannis kicking it out to Dame. Offense would be great. I need to see it.
You really threw that out there. I haven't seen anything about that, and man, thinking about it now, I'm like, damn.
That would be fire, but that means Giannis has to guard the best player now.
True, but I mean, honestly, he should already be doing that.
He should be, but I don't know if it's coach's decision he never does or what, but I don't know.
Yeah, they got some new coaches. There have been a
Yeah.
lot of coaching changes around the league. Before we end things out, you said something about a two-time champ, my guy. Talking about Chris Middleton as either Michael Jordan or KCP. Put some respect on the two-time champ, KCP. He's got more rings than Chris Middleton. But that's all we have for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe if you love Full Court Press and love this basketball content on Crypto Hoops. Until then, peace.